Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what today is?
Well, it is Saturday, which means that today is...
Q&A Saturday.
That's right.
And it's on a Saturday this time.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
So, since we're doing a Q&A, what are we Q&Aing today?
Well, we're going over Isaiah chapters 11 through 15. That's what we read this past week.
Indeed.
And I have a couple of small things to say. One is about Isaiah chapter 11, verse 9. And we had a question about a word. What's a Lordas? And I joked around Lordas.
Okay.
So I'm going to clarify that.
Sure.
And then the other was about Isaiah chapter 14, referencing Lightbringer or Satan,
Morningstar.
Like yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was definitely. I was curious about that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you ready to get into this and find out what all that's about?
I sure as fuck am.
Let's do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, Q&A Saturday. Here we go.
Okay.
So the first question was about Isaiah chapter 11, verse 9.
Lordas. Okay.
The verse itself read, "They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lordas, the water cover the sea."
Yeah, that was weird.
It was, but here's what happened.
Okay.
The thing that I was reading had a typo.
Well, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
So it was just Lord.
Yeah, well, it's Lord as.
The
earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes a fuck ton more sense.
That makes so much more sense. So this is what I wrote in my notes here.
Yeah.
Lordis is a fucking typo. Lol, 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 lol. It should read Lord as. Yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
So that one wasn't very exciting, but funny.
I think it was funny because it just shows that we can make fuck ups, and I mean,
well, it's the Bible. Like, we don't ever know if they're making up a word that we just don't know, or if it's a typo. Apparently,
yeah.
So.
I mean, it wasn't like, okay, when I said we can make fuck ups, it wasn't like our fault per se. Like, it really wasn't.
If we would have sat there and thought about it for a minute, we might have been able to come up with, yeah, that's a fucking typo. Look,
maybe.
I'm just saying, if we had taken the time to sit down and look at it and be like, Lordis.
The sentence doesn't even read properly.
Lord as. Yeah. And then it would read, so maybe.
I doubt it because that one was just too weird.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm trying to say that I'm an idiot, a dum-dum, if you will, and I read badly a typo.
Got it.
I don't entirely blame myself because
it was a typo.
It wasn't my typo.
Right.
But there it is. There you have it.
Yep.
That happened.
That's the one.
Sorry about that. Sorry about the confusion that I put out into the world. That was my bad.
Right.
And now I have cleared that up.
Okay. Yep.
So let's move on to Isaiah chapter 14.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to reread the whole chapter, obviously.
No.
But there were lots of references to Lightbringer and falling star, shining star, like Morningstar, all that stuff, right? And they were talking about Babylon and the king of Babylon.
That's what I was kind of asking.
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe they were referring, like, those are also terms for Lucifer, so I thought maybe they were referring to the king of Babylon as Lucifer, or similar tonnage to that extent.
Sure. And that has been theorized as well. But the thing is, at the time that this was written, they didn't have a word for Lucifer. Like, they didn't have a word for Lucifer, Satan,
Right.
that kind of thing.
But it's interesting that a lot of those words that they used to describe the king of Babylon then became words for Lucifer.
Yes
Names
and no.
for Lucifer.
Yes and no. Lucifer was never a name. It became a name.
Sure.
It was a title, an office holder. So it's not that there was a name that we referred to later as a bad guy. It's a bad guy of any ilk, and with all of these other descriptors in his repertoire.
Yeah.
We sum that up as a Lucifer, like
Okay.
a noun, and then later on that became a name in and of itself that we refer to as not just a bad guy, but the biggest bad guy of all.
So, but I would like to dig more into this maybe.
Sure.
Because
and I would
Morningstar and, like the names there's multiple names for Lucifer that are used in this chapter, and apparently they are all to describe this Babylonian king.
Right.
Fucker must have been bad.
Right.
Obviously.
Well, according to these guys, he was bad.
Right, according to these guys.
Yeah.
The Israelites.
Yeah.
Right? But
Isaiah.
Specifically. Right, specifically Isaiah.
Yeah.
So, but to the extent that he is...
They're describing him as the worst of
Lucifer.
the worst. No, he was not being described or compared to Lucifer.
I understand that. But his name, the names they're giving this Babylonian king later describe a god of evil. That they are the same words used for either one.
Yes and no. We now ascribe a lot more to that than what the Bible does. We're not there yet. So
okay.
We can't say one way or the other, you and I, yet, because we're not there. But when we quote unquote get to these parts where Lucifer is described, we're gonna see that a lot of it was taken out of context and given more meaning. Like we think that the name Lucifer as an entity and a bad being has more meaning than the Bible actually gave him.
I don't doubt that. But at the same time, it's interesting that multiple names for Lucifer are used for this king also. That's all I'm saying. It's interesting to me.
Well, I think that you have it exactly backwards. It's multiple names for this guy, then go on to become multiple names for so bad, totally bad, baddest bad.
Got it.
Just like that Babylonian guy back then. No, so bad. And then one of those words gets translated as Lucifer.
Okay.
You see what I mean? It's not that the guy was compared to Lucifer. It's that badness was compared to the Babylonian king, and a word arose from that.
I see. So there's no conflating of the Babylonian king for Lucifer?
Correct.
That's not something that even...
They weren't there yet.
No, I know, but Christians didn't go back and say maybe this guy was...
Oh yeah, Christians have
Lucifer.
done that, but Christians are kooks.
Right, but I'm that's what I was trying to get at, though. We're reading the Christian Bible, right?
No, we're reading the Jewish Bible,
which will then continue into the Christian Bible.
Yes,
it's all one
and
book.
So they will say Isaiah was totally talking about Jesus and the devil and all that stuff, right? But they're wrong.
I understand, but we have to take it both ways, though, because people are going to interpret Christians. A lot of Christians are going to interpret this as the devil and not the Babylonian king.
Well, they can if they want to, but they're wrong.
But I'm asking you a question.
What is your question? What is your question?
Do Christians view this as possibly the devil?
Oh, Christians today do, because Christians haven't actually read the Bible.
Okay.
Yes.
But
I guess I'm not really understanding your question.
Okay. I understand that Christians today who haven't read the Bible think of this as the devil.
Are you
Do
asking
Christians
what scholars?
who have read the Bible, do Christians who have read the Bible attribute any meaning to Lucifer in this book?
To
in that part right there.
retrofit it the same way that they do say that he's talking about Jesus, yes, Christians do. But scholars agree, but that's not what Isaiah was saying.
Okay, but apologists who have read the Bible do try to attribute meaning to Lucifer in this book.
Of course they do.
Okay.
That was never in doubt.
I didn't know because I didn't do the research. I just heard you read the chapter.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to figure out what you know.
Okay.
And that's all.
Okay. Well,
I'm trying to draw it out of you because
I didn't really understand your question.
I just want to know what the fuck's up with Lucifer as far as Christians are concerned in this Bible.
Well,
in this chapter.
It depends on who you're asking as. If you are asking,
I'm asking somebody who's curious about all takes on this matter.
Okay, well, I'm only curious about actual interpretation by scholars. And scholars have said, that's not what he was talking about.
But scholars is dependent on who's saying they're a scholar. So a Christian's going to say, an apologist Christian who has read the Bible and studied the Bible is going to say they're a scholar. They're going to come up with a different opinion about what happened. It doesn't make them not a scholar. It makes them more biased because they're not taking into account a lot of things that an actual scholar would do.
Well, I'm talking about actual scholars,
right?
Not Christian apologist scholars.
I understand.
I'm talking about actual scholars who are able to compare the language of the time and tell you what was happening and what kind of things were being said.
I understand.
And that's what I'm telling you.
I guess what I was really curious about, and maybe am still curious about, even after we're done with this Q&A, and maybe would like to dive into a little bit more, would be the origins of the name Lucifer,
sure,
and Morningstar, and
that particular brand of the King of Hell, or
and
whatever.
how did all these names then become the devil?
Like,
right?
At what point in history did this shit get retrofitted?
Right.
Okay, that's a good question.
And
that's
so
a fair question.
to me, there's I guess this is why I'm nitpicking you about it, because to me, there's a bigger story here.
Oh, no, I totally agree. And I do want to research this more.
Okay.
But for all intents and purposes, the answer to the question is Isaiah 14 is not actually about Lucifer.
Right.
It's about the Babylonian king, and we humans later on retrofitted and stole a lot of the descriptors and the language to mean what we wanted it to mean. And
okay.
So that's where that sits for the moment.
All right.
Till we do more research specifically just into that.
Okay. Maybe we've got a Patreon coming up this weekend.
We do.
Still.
We do.
Do we have anything? I mean, we might, maybe.
We might look into Lucifer because clearly that is where you're
curious.
at right now.
I'm very curious.
See, okay, I feel like we were trying to have two separate discussions because I was trying to talk about Isaiah chapter 14 from the Isaiah chapter 14 perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And you were trying to talk about Lucifer outside of the context of that chapter.
Only because those names resonate so much further than this chapter.
No, and I totally agree, but that's beyond the scope of what I was getting into for this discussion.
Okay.
And for this Q&A about chapters 11 through 15.
Well, I'm not going to say I was disappointed, but I'm not going to not say I was disappointed.
Well, I'm not going to say that I disagree with you. I do want to know more.
Right.
But I wasn't looking at it from the grander scope of a, rabbit hole.
Okay.
I was looking at it purely from the, what did Isaiah mean here?
Got it. Okay.
So.
That's fine. I just was trying to clarify a couple of points because we are talking about something that later indicates Lucifer and Satan.
Sure. And the show Lucifer is so good and has nothing to do with this whatsoever.
Right. Except in any way whatsoever.
Except that everybody does call him Lucifer Morningstar.
Yeah.
Which is just so cool. And his brother Amenadiel calls him Lucy, which I fucking love.
Don't you just want a reason to talk about, say the words Lucifer and Morningstar and Lightbringer a lot in an episode?
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be fun?
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's just, that's not what I was doing though.
No, I got you.
And I apologize. I didn't realize that you were going to be so.
Well, maybe not just me. I'm trying to be the everyman. Like, I'm trying to be the person that's like, but you said Lucifer in this chapter. I want to know what the fuck's happening here about Lucifer.
Okay, and I hear you, but actually Lucifer was never said in this chapter.
No.
You said Lucifer. Nobody else said Lucifer.
They said Morningstar. They said Lightbringer.
They did.
Those things were mentioned.
They were.
Those things are things that
are
Lucifer
/
Satan is called at if not in the Bible, at some point in time.
This is really going to blow your mind. Satan and Lucifer are not the same being.
Jesus Christ.
Look at that bomb I just threw. And on that note, bye.
Bye.
What a grenade.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.